You have a second brain. It has 500 million neurons. And this morning, it made a decision about you, without once consulting your actual brain. You know that feeling in your gut when something is wrong, before you even know why? The nervousness that lives in your stomach before something important happens? The way your appetite disappears when you're heartbroken, or surges when you're stressed? You've been calling these feelings. Science calls them something else entirely. Two things almost everyone believes about this. Both wrong. First, gut feelings are just anxiety. Emotions that happen to manifest in your stomach. Wrong. Your gut isn't responding to your emotions. In most cases, it is generating them. Second, your brain controls your gut. Top down. Brain sends instructions. Gut follows. Also wrong. 90% of the signals between your gut and your brain travel upward, from gut to brain, not the other way around. Here is exactly what this video covers. The system, 500 million neurons in your gut, operating completely independently of your brain. The signal, why 90% of communication goes upward, and what your gut has been telling your brain about your mood every single day. And the disruption, what happens to your mental state when this system gets damaged, and the three things research actually shows can restore it. Before we get to what it does, you need to understand what it is. And this part still surprises most doctors. Lining the walls of your digestive tract, from your esophagus all the way to your large intestine, is a mesh of neurons so dense and so complex that scientists gave it a name: the enteric nervous system. And in the 1990s, a neuroscientist at Columbia University named Michael Gershon spent years trying to convince his colleagues of something they found almost impossible to accept: that this system was not a relay station for the brain. It was a brain, a fully independent neural network, capable of managing the entire digestive process without receiving a single instruction from above. Cut the vagus nerve, the main communication cable between brain and gut, and the enteric nervous system keeps working perfectly. His colleagues called him wrong for years. Journals rejected his work. He published a book in 1998 called The Second Brain. Today, the field he founded, neurogastroenterology, is one of the fastest growing areas of neurological research on the planet. He was right. 500 million neurons. More than in your spinal cord. Every major neurotransmitter found in your brain is also produced here, including serotonin, including dopamine, including GABA, the chemical your brain uses to reduce anxiety. This is not a system that responds to your brain. This is a system that talks to it. That is what it is. But what it does to your mood and to your anxiety is the part that changes how you understand yourself. And it starts with one number. That should completely reframe everything you know about mental health. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve in your body. It runs from your brainstem, down through your chest, past your heart and lungs, all the way into your gut. For decades, scientists assumed it was a one-way street. Brain sends signals down. Gut responds. Then they counted the fibers. The vagus nerve contains roughly 100,000 nerve fibers. 80 to 90% of them are afferent, meaning they carry signals upward. From gut to brain, only 10 to 20% carry signals downward. Read that again. Your brain is primarily listening to your gut, not instructing it. And what is your gut sending up? Status reports on everything happening inside. The composition of your microbiome, the presence of inflammation, the levels of neurotransmitters being produced in the gut lining. And here is the number that should stop you. 90 to 95% of your body's total serotonin, the neurotransmitter most directly linked to mood, well-being, and the prevention of depression, is produced in your gut, not in your brain. Your brain does not make most of its own mood-regulating chemical. It receives it from below. But here's where most people mess this up. They hear this and think, take probiotics, feel better. Eat well, feel happy. It is not that simple. And the damage that disrupts this system is not what most people are protecting against. So what actually disrupts the second brain? And when it gets disrupted, what exactly goes wrong upstairs? This is the part most doctors have not yet been trained to connect. Your gut microbiome, 100 trillion microorganisms living in your digestive tract, is the operating environment of your second brain. When it is diverse and balanced, your enteric nervous system produces neurotransmitters efficiently. Clean signals travel upward. Your brain receives information that supports stable mood and clear thinking. When it is disrupted, something different happens. A 2019 study found that people with low microbiome diversity had significantly higher rates of depression and anxiety, independent of any other factor. But here's where most people still get this wrong. They assume the depression caused the gut problems. The research increasingly shows the opposite. The gut disruption came first. Here is the mechanism. Your gut lining is only one cell thick. A single layer of cells separating the contents of your digestive tract from your bloodstream. Chronic stress, ultra-processed food, and antibiotic overuse can damage the integrity of that lining. When it becomes more permeable, bacterial compounds from the gut begin crossing into the bloodstream. This triggers systemic inflammation. That inflammation crosses the blood-brain barrier and directly disrupts the production and signaling of serotonin, dopamine, and GABA in the brain. The gut didn't just send a bad mood signal upward. It sent inflammation that physically altered the brain's chemistry. And here's what makes this worse. Chronic psychological stress, the kind most people carry daily, reshapes the microbiome within 72 hours. Stress disrupts the gut. The disrupted gut sends distress signals to the brain. The brain generates anxiety. The anxiety creates more stress. The increased stress further disrupts the gut. This loop, once established, is self-reinforcing. And most people treat the end of it, the anxiety, while the beginning of it keeps running. So what does the research show actually works? Not supplements, not detox programs. 3 things, all free or low cost, backed by evidence. And none of them are what most people are currently doing. The 3F framework. Fiber, fermented foods, fixed meal timing. Fiber, specifically prebiotic fiber, is the primary food source for the beneficial bacteria in your microbiome. Garlic, onions, leeks, oats, bananas. These are not health food cliches. They are literally feeding the system that produces your serotonin. Fermented foods, yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, introduce live bacterial cultures that increase microbiome diversity. A 2021 Stanford study found that 10 weeks of a high-fermented food diet significantly increased microbiome diversity and reduced inflammation markers, with more consistent results than a high-fiber diet alone. Fixed meal timing, and this is the one most people never consider. Your gut microbiome has its own circadian rhythm. It operates on a biological clock, entrained by the timing of meals, not just the content. Eating at consistent times every day maintains microbiome stability. Irregular eating patterns disrupt it independently of what you eat. Fiber, fermented foods, fixed timing. These 3 things support the operating environment of the system that is running your mood, your gut feelings, and your ability to handle stress. Not because they make you feel better, because they give your second brain the conditions to do its actual job. Your gut has been talking to your brain your entire life. You just were never told to listen. Now you know what it actually is. Subscribe, because every week we go exactly this deep into what your body is running without telling you. Next week, something your brain does that should be impossible. It takes a memory you are completely certain is real and manufactures it from nothing. Your brain has done this to you multiple times, and you have no way of knowing which memories are real. One small detail changes everything you thought you knew.